I've gotten tons of questions in the past about how to train for arm wrestling, and there are tons and tons of videos and channels out there about arm wrestling training already. But I thought that one specific aspect of arm wrestling training has not been elaborated on that much yet, and that is how to conduct your arm wrestling table practice. Now, I've already made a previous video on this topic before, and in that video, I talked about how to integrate table practice into your arm wrestling training program. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend you watch that video after you're done with this one. It goes into the pros and cons of table time versus weight training, how to schedule your table time, and all that fun stuff. But for this video, I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on how I personally do table time. And this is specifically talking about table time that is intentional and is a deliberate part of some sort of arm wrestling training program, whether it's for the preparation of a super match or a tournament. This is not me talking about just some random practice on Sunday where everyone gets together and bangs out on the table. No, this is a methodical workout and is done with specific goals in mind. Now, with each practice session, you may have slightly different focuses, but I wanted to share with you guys some things that you can apply to your own table practice in general to make them more productive and sustainable. So, tip number one, avoid eccentrics. Now, as a disclaimer, I must say that I am not against eccentric training per se. In fact, having a controlled eccentric in your weight training is great practice. It encourages better muscle growth and helps to teach you better form. But for the purpose of making arm wrestling table practice sustainable, you should try to avoid getting ripped open as much as possible. The reason being is that eccentrics cause more damage, more muscle soreness as you're loading up your muscles past the point that they can handle. While this can trigger really good muscle growth, after a couple times of being ripped open on a table, you're likely not going to be able to have a productive training session afterwards. It's extremely fatiguing. And once that muscle soreness kicks in, your weight training over the next couple of days is just going to be affected really badly as well. And that is why I recommend you do not do eccentrics on the table. Just take a look at these couple of clips where I'm helping my training partner Valen prepare for an upcoming super match.
Candy.
Notice how we ease into our positions and hold the statics for a couple of seconds before releasing the tension before it gets to the eccentric part. This allows us to apply a decent amount of force, but still not so much that either of us has to go into the eccentric, which will cause us more damage. Tip number two, use bands. Now, bands are already a very popular tool amongst arm wrestlers, but a lot of people do not seem to use them as effectively as they could. Bands can be used to help target specific angles so that you can focus on a particular strength or a weakness. They're also very helpful when there is a strength gap between training partners. As I mentioned earlier, you want to keep most of your table training static. And if you are significantly weaker than your training partner, this might not be that possible for you. And so this is where bands come in. They're very versatile. They come in a variety of resistance levels, so you can mix and match according to your preferences.
Put this way instead of here. Okay, so it's more back. Bro, it's halfway there, bro.
Tip number three is to keep your practices short. As much as we love pulling on the table, if we want to have a sustainable training program, we should bear in mind our recovery. Treat table time just as you would any other kind of workout at the gym. Sure, I know some of you guys out there like to spend 2-3 hours at the gym, but let's be honest, are you actually being productive over there? Or are you just looking at the cute girl doing her squats or hogging the bench scrolling through TikTok on your phone? I don't know, maybe there are some of you freaks out there who can actually spend 3 good hours pushing really hard at the gym, but that's just not me.
It's basically an 8-hour arm workout, and it's made up of 16 mini workouts every half an hour throughout the day for 8 hours straight, killing your arms. And yes, it's 8 hours long.
At least for me, 45 minutes to an hour of working out is really solid, and it's something that you can shoot for your table practice as well. As I've mentioned before, overtraining probably does more harm than good, and being in a chronically overtrained state is just going to do more harm than good. So instead of wasting your time banging out for 5 hours at the table, just have a good 1 hour session, 1.5 hours at most, including your rest time. Then get some protein into your body after the session and you should be gold. Also, something a little bit extra for you guys, because I do know, as I've heard from some of my friends, that the ReadyGo timers on the phone are only available on the Android store, and guys using iPhones are not able to get any of those apps. So just want to go quickly onto SingaporeArmWrestling.com. Just type it into Google, first link most likely, and it'll bring you to the Singapore Arm Wrestling page. Over here, my friend Jasper from Singapore Arm Wrestling has created a cool little web app. Just need to go up here to the ReadyGo trainer, and then you can set the time for which it will randomize, when the ReadyGo will actually call. So, defaults between 5 to 7 seconds. I'm just gonna, for example, between 1 to 5 seconds over here. And then you can choose the audio for the command itself. And just gonna go with, Devin Larratt. You can preview what it sounds like. ReadyGo! So that's the sound for Devin Larratt's ReadyGo. You can mess around with the other stuff here, like, there's Uncle John's one.
Don't move.
For the don't move.
Close your hands.
Yeah, all that fun
Go!
stuff. Yeah, so just going with the standard Devin Larratt ReadyGo, and then between 1 and 5 seconds, hit start, and between 1 and 5 seconds later, it'll trigger the command. ReadyGo! Just like that. And then there is a downside to this one, which is that it does not infinitely loop the audio, so you will have to push the button over and over again whenever you're going to reset, and then trigger the ReadyGo again. But if you have an iPhone, you don't have access to the Google Play Store or the Android Store or whatever, this is a cool alternative. It works on your phone as well. You can upload your own custom audios for this as well. So yeah, that's a handy little tool that you can use for your arm wrestling table practice. If it's just 2 of you guys and there's no third person and you guys want to practice some ReadyGos, you can use that. So yeah, check out the website. Link's going to be in my description below. Now, those are my 3 top tips for conducting your arm wrestling table practice. I'm sure a lot of you have your own ways of doing it as well, and I'd love to hear about your experiences, so please share them with me in the comment section below. I'm Greg, and I'll see you beasts in the next one.